What's good, Fin Nation? What's good? It's your boy Reason. We are back here for another one. Tonight we are going to preview the Indianapolis Colts at the Miami Dolphins, the Week 4 matchup. On top of that, I want to take a look at and just after we do that, I want to take a look at an interesting article that Barry Jackson has put out that further shows how ahead of the curve me and EM were with the show we did back all the way at the beginning of June. I believe June 3rd was when we did the resources show. So I want to take a look at something he wrote. But first and foremost, I gotta hop in for a sec on Deshaun Watson. Now I know everyone's tired of the Deshaun Watson stuff. It's not going away. You know my stance. If you're gonna make the trade, shit or get off the pot. I get he's an upgrade. So if you're gonna do it, do it. I'm not one of these people out here saying Tua Tagovailoa is better than Deshaun Watson or flat out lying to myself. What I want to see Tua Tagovailoa develop and properly groomed in Miami, sure, but it doesn't look like we have the coaching staff in place right now that is properly developing talent. And I mean, you can go outside of the quarterback position, you go to the offensive line. You can already see how they're using Jalen Waddle right now. It's just, you're seeing Gaskin do what he does on the ground, but they won't commit to him. It's not a good situation right now, especially for developing a young quarterback. So, I mean, since the rumors sprouted, I've said if you can get him for the right price, knock yourself out. It's clearly an upgrade. Well, yesterday I was pretty adamant that I believed that everything was going to happen in the offseason, and this was actually based off of things that I had heard. I hadn't really checked in on the Watson situation in quite some time, and since then, today I got some information from someone, and then I was actually able to verify it with someone else who was hearing the same thing. So basically, I double checked what I was hearing a little bit today, and that was just by coincidence and passing of talking about things we were hearing, and then I was basically stuff that I had been hearing today. This other said person said, "Yeah, I'm hearing almost the exact same thing." Da 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 da. So, we will talk about that, and we will hop into that before we even get into the preview show. And let's just say this: I am not fully confident that they're going to wait till the offseason. Let's put it that way. Let's start off with that. So if you're a Patreon, you're already you've been privy to most of this information all day. I've actually had 2 updates on the Patreon. Our first update was at 9:30 in the morning, and then my second update was in the afternoon because I heard more stuff as the day progressed. So let's hop into exactly what I'm hearing right now in regards to all the Deshaun Watson stuff and the Miami Dolphins and where everything's at, et cetera, et cetera. And what's crazy is, I knew this was, when I verified it with someone, I knew. There's a part of what I'm about to tell you that when this said person too had heard this from his own source, I was like, okay, that's kind of odd. You know what I mean? Like, because it's such a weird thing. We'll get into it. Let's talk about it right now. So I'm just gonna go straight. We'll start with what I heard early in this morning. We'll go chronological, and then we'll go from there. So basically, I was told last week that the package specific trades had died down at one point because the Dolphins wanted to see what they had in 2 of the season. And internally, I was told they had realized the offense is not a quarterback away from challenging for a title. And then on other stuff, with everything going on, it's it's out there for the world. Albright was saying it privately, but now he's said it publicly that he's heard other teams in Washington in regards to talks about Tua if a Watson trade does go through. And Albright also said that Houston wants to delay as close to the trade deadline as possible. And the reason why I've heard that they want to delay to the trade deadline as close as possible is because the trade deadline is November 2nd. We would actually be playing the Houston Texans on November 7th. And they do not want Deshaun Watson fully prepared and fully entrenched in this offense and beating them. So it's more of a PR thing on why they're trying to wait it out till the deadline. But this has gotten pretty deep. And what's gotten deep in the sense of, I was told privately by someone else, right, that Ross has put Greer on short notice to pull the trade off, as both Ross and McNair have stepped in for their respective teams. It's not the compensation that's the issue. It's the obvious legal issues and future ramifications that are holding this all up, as Ross and his lawyers were meeting today, and apparently they're trying to get answers from the Houston PD and the NFL in terms of where this is all heading, like the ramifications, as far as the NFL, what's going to happen if he's off, in terms of, I guess, sources with the Houston PD. And this is what the other person said they heard too. They said they heard Ross and his lawyers were meeting and trying to get answers in the Houston PD and the NFL. When the other person I talked to that verified a lot of the stuff that I had heard, that's what made my light go off when he heard that too. I was like, really? You've heard that? Like, that's kind of just an odd thing. You know what I mean? Like, what kind of answers are they going to get from the Houston PD? And he's like, yeah, I heard that too. So that's where I was like, man. And he even said to me, he's like, man, we must have like similar sources going on here. I'm like, I don't know. So I've even been told this is a bombshell. Okay, now I want everyone to focus on what I'm about to tell you, because this is an actual bombshell right now. All right. And I've been told apparently Deshaun Watson has evidence that some of these women accusing him came back to his house unannounced to see if he wanted any more massages. And if Watson feared jail, prison, he would have settled this financially with the accusers already. So I've heard that Deshaun Watson has this is why he wanted everything made public. He has legitimate evidence that some of these girls were trying to come back to his house, and some did come back to his house. So that's why teams think this might actually go through, like that, because you got to understand how the civil case works. Yes, it's 22 women, but they're all tied up in one case. And if you disprove one of those women in the civil case, the whole civil case is lost. So this is why teams are still sniffing around Deshaun Watson, and this is why Deshaun Watson was willing to meet with the FBI, and he suggested that him and his lawyer meet with the FBI. The FBI didn't ask him. It's because he has evidence that shows some of these women were coming back to his place unannounced. This is why teams have continued to sniff around Deshaun Watson, because there's a belief that he might get off with this. Yes, he might get indicted because the grand jury only hears one side. They only hear the prosecution side. They do not hear the defense's side. So the court of public opinion, some people have, you heard Alex Dunno was calling him a sexual predator after he released all that information. Larry's been out here, he's called Watson a rapist before. You got people out here that, man, if that kind of information comes out, you might be owing this guy an apology for putting those labels on him. That's why I always said, me alone, not anyone up here, not anyone on the platform. Y'all speak for yourself. I've always said he's innocent until proven guilty, and you also got to believe the women until they're proven to be liars. It's the middle ground, and I rarely ever take the middle ground, But on something like this, you got to take the middle ground, and that's why more information is starting to come out. So, I mean, if that comes out, whew. So, anyways, that's what I mean. That's part. So that's what I heard this morning. All that stuff, and man, if Deshaun Watson gets cleared and he doesn't get indicted, oh man. And then, what I heard this afternoon, and I made this post about 4.5 hours. As the day progressed, I heard some more things. So I was told Stephen Ross told Greer about 2 to 3 mornings ago, go get it done. And this actually may be the only way he can save his job long term. It's Ross has flipped. He wants to sign off on it now. In the summer, he was the one that was hesitant. Now he's the one pushing, from what I'm understanding. Once Greer was told, you got to go get this done, he's been on the phone with the Texans the next morning and starting ever since. After that initial discussion, Houston didn't like the offer. And then from what I'm told, Houston is who fueled the Philly rumors you heard Chris Sims talking about a few days ago, as more teams lead to more real negotiations. Cal McNair wants Watson moved ASAP, contrary to what Albright said about the Texans wanting to wait as close to the deadline as possible. Also, the same person has not heard anything about Tua Tagovailoa being traded. Also, that's contrary to what Dono and Albright have said. And I was told Dan Marino had a private meeting with Stephen Ross, which prompted Ross to talk directly to Texans owner Cal McNair. And basically, a lot of what I'm hearing today is contrary to what Josina Anderson is reported yesterday. So this is what I'm hearing right now. There's a lot to take in with all that stuff, So that's where I'm hearing. I still believe, whether it's Tua or whether it's Deshaun Watson, we don't have the proper regime in place to get it correct on the offensive side of the football. And hey, if you're going to trade, because here's my thing. Listen, you guys haven't made it a priority to protect and put in a position to win a number 5 overall pick. Okay. Now you're going to get a guy that's almost that's passed for almost 5,000 yards last year. He can do a lot. They're going to ask this kid to be Superman. And yet people need to understand he's 25. He still has more room to grow and develop, does Deshaun Watson. And on top of all that, if you are going to trade for Deshaun Watson, this is now a guy you've traded 3 firsts for, multiple second and or thirds for, and let's count, you blew a pick on a number 5 overall pick just last year. So all those assets that have been spent on the position, you better financially go spend your assets and take care of this guy. Like, you better make sure. And even if Deshaun Watson does not get traded for by the Miami Dolphins, you need to protect Tua and spend your financials on Tua. So I don't know. This is everything that I'm hearing on the Deshaun Watson situation right now. I don't know. They're gonna have to clear up cap space for him if that's gonna happen, and we'll see how it goes. I don't know. It is what it is. It's I came to terms with this a long time ago when I told all of y'all that if those allegations never hit, Deshaun Watson would be a Miami Dolphin. I came to terms with them trying to trade for him back then. because when I was told that, the reality is they're going to do what they're going to do, and he should have been a Dolphin anyways if the allegations never hit. So the allegations, all they've done is prolong the situation, and Tua being injured hasn't helped the case in terms of having a chance to turn the Dolphins off of, specifically even Stephen Ross, off of trying to trade for someone else right now. So, and Deshaun Watson's number one destination obviously still remains the Miami Dolphins. It's really not about compensation right now. It's about they need to make sure the legal side of it isn't going to come back and bite them in the ass. That's what this is all about right now. So, I mean, it is what it is. I'm not going to we don't have any generational elite player, like any generational players on this team right now. So we don't have anyone that I can even comprehend putting on the same level as the logo. It's always the logo first. You know what I mean? So would I like to see Tua Tagovailoa groomed and developed here? Yes, but I've been pointing out for some time now we didn't have the offensive line, and now since the season started and I've seen the product on field, I've been pointing out we don't have the coaching staff for it either right now. So you might as well go get the proven commodity. No one can lie to themselves and say he's not an upgrade. And you just here's the thing though. You gotta think about this though. With what I'm hearing with the lawyers meeting, with all that lawyer stuff going on, they're literally trying to make sure that this is not going to bite them in the ass. If they have any inkling he's going to be indicted and put on the exempt list, they will not make the trade for Deshaun Watson. They will wait that out. So you have to keep that in mind. They're trying to get information from the Houston PD and the NFL right now because they're trying to make sure he's not going to go on the exempt list for a prolonged period of time. And if criminal charges get laid and he gets indicted, he's going to be put on the exempt list. So they're not going to trade until they have they've dotted their I's and crossed their T's when it comes to the legal stuff. And when you got the kind of money Stephen Ross has, you know you're going to find out. So, yes, it is a criminal case, mob rule, but the thing about this is you have to realize if someone wants to make some money on the side and they're working the case and they have access to the information, all it takes is a cool 50 grand or $100,000 and you'll give information. So that's just what it is right now. Literally what Dylan just said in the chat, money talks, is what I was told today. That is literally what I was told today. Money talks, man. And you also have to think about this. If you want a legal way around it, it's very simple. Cal McNair may be able to get information from the Houston PD because technically Deshaun Watson is his employee. Man, if McNair and Ross are talking directly, who's to say McNair isn't walking in with Ross and Ross's lawyers to try and figure some stuff out? You got to think about it that way too. So, because I talked to I talked to EM about it today because obviously people know that he was in the sheriff's office, and I said, "Yo, man, how can they get information from Houston PD?" And basically, he said, "Man, all it takes is one guy that's working the case wanted to get a little paid, or I believe, or he could walk in with Cal because of the whole employer employment thing, or they could try and try and get a subpoena from the judge and get access to the evidence and see what they have in front of them, and then the lawyers look it over, and boom, the lawyers make a decision. The Houston PD does not tell them what's going on in terms of on their part of the case. They just show them the evidence. The thing is, they got to make sure he's not getting indicted. That's what they're trying to figure out right now. That is where the Dolphins are. That's where Stephen Ross and his lawyers are at right now. So that's where what that's gonna come down to. If they can prove that he's not gonna get indicted. So, and Deshaun Watson, I'm pretty sure, is in the Florida Keys right now with his girlfriend. He was on a pit. He was pictured in a yacht yesterday, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty dude, Ross is trying to make sure that this is not going to bite them in the ass. Because I've even been told that, you know what I mean? If they go out and get Watson because of what the legwork Ross is doing, and Watson doesn't work out, he's not going to put it on Greer or Flores. That'll fall on him. And, now that I'm hearing that, the stuff that I reported to you guys and I reported to the Patreons earlier today, that Deshaun Watson apparently has evidence that some of these women came back to his place unannounced. I've always wondered, and I've always asked DM privately and other people privately, the rhetorical question of, why is this girl sticking by him? If he's really this guilty and this big of a freak, why the hell is this girl sticking by him? Because they got kids together, and that's a meal ticket. Her meal ticket is already punched, already stamped. She got no reason to be sticking by him. Why is she staying by him? And I'm like, this man must have told her or showed her something that says that proves that he's not what they're saying he is. So I don't know. Cause she could already leave his ass. She could already leave his ass. I mean, y'all saw Rick Ross. The guy makes $585,000 a month, and he just had to pay $11,000 a month to his baby mama. What's she about to make? And she got all the reasons in the world to get money off of him with all these accusations. This girl would get all the money in the world because of the accusations, and he just signed that fresh big contract. Damn. That's what I'm saying. Oh, they don't have kids, D-Hugger? I thought they had kids. But I've always been like, why the hell is she sticking through this? I don't know. Weird. She's got to know something. Because she's a smoke show. She can get anyone she wants. She can get anyone she wants. She's a smoke show. So, I don't know, man. I don't know. And yeah, I don't know, man. It is what it is. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I'm just in the point of where I'm at right now. Just do it or don't. I am so sick of talking about this situation. All the excitement has been taken out of it. Like, imagine if everyone would have been hit with surprise by Deshaun Watson trade. That would have been really interesting. Now, even the people that want him are like, yo, either do it or don't. Like, even the excitement's been taken out for them. Like, either make it happen or don't. I'm ready to move on with my life. God. Like, and I still say, yo, man, I don't know what the plan is. I have no idea what the plan is. But hey, and you're right, Z man, they're wasting time. If you are really going to do this, why didn't you do it when Tua went down? Like, I don't get it. I don't get. And now, well, I do get it to an extent. They're trying to make sure that no indictment's about to come down. So we'll see how that goes. If they get the clearance that no indictment is coming down, then and IT respect, I wouldn't be so sure. Like that's why I know Albright and Donald reporting the thing, and my one buddy was telling my one person was telling me that he hasn't heard. The person that I'm leaning on for this stuff, he hasn't heard anything regarding Tua. He's just heard pure Watson stuff. So just make it happen. Just do it. Cash, if you're keeping your eye on Rodgers, you got to get Rodgers and Devontae Adams. You can't just get Aaron Rodgers. So we will see what happens. It's never ending with this. Like, just happen. Just make it happen or don't. Like, just move on with your lives. Like, and I agree, Tua doesn't deserve this. You won't get it wrong from you won't get any pushback from me on that. But it is what it is. They're gonna do now. If it's coming to have a mandate from Stephen Ross now, man, that's pretty high up. So, I don't know. We'll see. It may happen. I have a stronger feeling after talking with everyone today that it's going to happen before the trade deadline. But that all depends on if they can find out whether he's going to be indicted. If they find, for example, if they find out tonight he's not going to be indicted, like let's say the grand jury came through today that we're not indicting him, they would trade for him on Monday. That's where this would be at. Because then they'd only have to worry about the civil cases and the NFL. And the thing is with the NFL that I have to realize, I keep saying it, Zeke Elliott got 6 games and he got off. His shit got dropped. So there is still going to be some suspension time for Deshaun Watson. Even if he gets off all of this, right? So, but you need the criminal cases the criminal stuff to go away. Then you need the civil stuff to go away. Then you need to see what the NFL's punishment's doing. So there's still a lot to siphon through. But we'll see. We will see in things. And again, I mean, I have not heard the Monday deadline. I want to reiterate, I've not heard the Monday deadline. I heard the Houston Texans front office, so not McNair wants it done ASAP, but the front office wants Watson gone near the deadline. So basically he will not be fully prepared and he will not be fully entrenched in this offense to have a revenge type of game against them. It's all PR because they play us. The deadline is November 2nd and they play us on the 7th. So that's why they want to wait till closer to the deadline. That's what I was told. And that's different. That's what I've been told. So that's different from what Alex Dunn was saying Monday. I've been told they want to wait closer to the deadline. So we'll see what happens, if anything happens. But once again, another update on the Deshaun Watson situation. It's never ending. God, please let it end. All right, so smash that like button, guys. Subscribe if you are new here. If you'd like to donate to the channel, paypal.me/Finside. Become a Finside, the NFL Patreon. They got first access today to all that information starting at 9 in the morning, and then they were updated throughout the day. You can get that early access, and usually I don't drop everything I've updated, but because this stuff there's some big nuggets in there, I wanted to drop it for y'all and let you know what's going on. But you get information like that. Sometimes, like Liam Eichenberg, my Patreon's new Liam Eichenberg was going to be starting at left tackle when Austin Jackson returned from COVID. They knew, and I actually never went public on this channel with that information, but the receipt is on the Patreon. So with Patreon, you get early access to that kind of info. Patreon.com/Finside. You also get mod status as well. And I have some film studies coming out on Jalen Waddle and Javon Holland. You will get 1 to 2 day early access before it's released to the public if you are a Patreon. So shout out to Patrons: Rhino Sith, Fake Spike 94, KL Day, Ramon Casillas, Seth, Slim Pickens, Red Dino, Marino's Goat, Keith Davis, your boy Trev, Josh, Jazz 803, Martin, Arkham Elf, Irving, Drew Boo, The Show, Jawar Thompson, Jeff Jackson, Andre Villarreal, J Love T, Todd Labruto, The Enigmatic Man, Georgie Boy, Florida born, Kentucky grown, Michael Rodriguez, Dennis Glasson, Philip Leduc, Cody Patron, Tommy Flores, Ron Levy, Marino Ron, Joe Crotwell, Rhonda, Darth Logan, Justo, Robert Martin, Regil, and Kyle Bow. And then continuing on with the rest of the Patreons, shout out to Drip Entertainment, Anything's Possible, Troy, Nelson Alfonso, Ernesto Gonzalez, Rafael Lopez, Franklin Lejeune, Timothy Saponenza, Dylan, David Figley, Miami Fan 113, Fins 1, Quentin Martin, Ryan Williams, Mauricio Waddlehouse, Daddy Dean, Anthony Giandoletti, Joe Levesque, Jose Valdez, Junior Ronaldo, Guy Corner, Vaughn Green, Dennis Klassen, Derek Batten, Z-Man, Finn Shady 1313, Victor Fernandez, Maurice Perkins, Finn's Weekly, Hawaii Dolphin 808, G Firm 456, Flip City Cruise, Bob Oliver, Ian McGill, Russell Grace, Garrett Lambert, Manny, Nathan Berkey, Otto Bell, Hunter Chaney, Jason Patrick, Uncle Billy, Zeke One, Hammer, Chaz, Tardy C, Tyler, Richard, Friere, and of course, Isaiah Taylor. Guys, if you look some of the people in the chats, they have access and they use these cool emojis like Marino and Richmond Webb in a Hall of Fame jacket. They also have badges next to the name. They are members of the channel. They, like the Patrons, will get early access to videos. And aside from the Patrons, they don't get mod access, but they get those custom emojis and those badges next to the name. So there is a button next to subscribe that says join. If you'd like to become a member, go ahead and hit that join button. And there's also a link to the Patreon directly, and to join and become a channel member directly, there is a link in the description below. You can click any of those links and it'll take you right to. But shout out to all of my members. I love each and every one of you. Damien, MF Fins 1, sorry, Seth Twizzle, Law 10442, Timothy Whiteman, Yawa, Bullet, Bruce 1, Fox and Around, Dr. Draft, Timothy Saponenza, Nico, Fake Spike 94, Jazz 803, and D Ray 91. Continuing on, Tilly Flips, Marcus 84 Franks, Ty Rhodes, Florida born, Kentucky grown, SC42 The Show, Kevin Williams, Rhonda, Philip Leduc, Zachary Harris, Dennis Klassen, Birdman, 100 Ante, Ramon Casillas, Michael Simmons, Ron Levy, Chad Marchione, Barry Bailey, DC, Richmond Webb, Furious, KL Day, Irving Figura, Julian, Scorpion King 271, Whale 1, I am WRX for Life, Fred Rivera, Justin Dunker, Cash, Zanny Jinzo, your boy Trev, Caddyshack, Vince Forever, Storm Warrior, Daryl Canna, Big Time 666, Wayne Hedgeman, Quint Riddle, Takamizi, Harry Clements, Todd Beards, James Steele, Dolphin Don, Jeremiah Kelly, Big John Stud, the Corn 72, Chef Jew, Tommy, Robert Martin, Joel Fields, BK Today, Dylan Usman, Ramon Elertondo, A Turner 05, Chalk Vanilla Straw, Miami Fan 113, James Jordan, Ivan Ulysses, Darth Logan, Sal Powell, Joe Levesque, Robert Turner, Big Spence, DM, Rock Hawkins, Franklin Lejeune, Kyle Bowe, Simone Sniper 13, Esteban Santana, South Florida Dawn, Go to Valoa, Stetson, Les Palpatok, Fins Up Nubans, D. Capichelli, Tony Asawa, James Jordan, Bleezy, Wayne D. Music, Pierre Lewis, D. Hugga, Tyler, Sleepy, Fins for Life, Sherrod Ford, Sean, Heller, Marino's Goat, George Rabber, Cody Patron, Matthew Rankin, Jose Valdez, Dolphin Sweden, Tony Marine, Tournament T, James Elizondo, Black Dolphin, and Daddy Dean. Shout out to each and any one of you. And Daddy Dean, I will hit you up after the show and get back to our conversation, my dude. All right, let's preview this game between the Miami Dolphins and the Indianapolis Colts. Patchlives.com. Use code FINSIDE to save 20% off your order. Backroomcollection.net. They're actually, guys, they are doing autograph visors for your custom helmets right now. It's amazing. You should see the Ricky Williams visors. Use code REASON to save 10% off your order. And then ThriveFantasy.com. Use code FINSIDE at ThriveFantasy.com. And they will deposit every dollar up until your first 100. They will match every dollar up until your first 100 deposited. So you deposit 50, they'll deposit another 50, bringing you 100. You go to the full 100, they'll deposit another 100, giving you up to $200 for your first set of fantasy prop bets. All right. Now let's get into all of this. And shout out to the donation. I got a donation here. I got to read it. Eddie Dean taking my 9-year-old to his first Dolphins game and was wondering if we can meet up with anyone. So there you go, guys. Hit up Daddy Dean if you are going. I know Damian Deese, Daddy Dean, will be down there this Sunday at the Colts game. So shout out to and shout out to Black Dolphin for becoming a member. But yeah, guys, hit up Daddy Dean if you're going to the game this weekend, man. I know Damian Deese will be down there. All right, let's get into previewing the Miami Dolphins at the Indianapolis Colts. Well, for those of you that are going to the game this weekend, here is your quarter-by-quarter weather report and what to expect. It seems like it's going to be partly cloudy for all 4 quarters. Temperature is going to stay at 84, but it's going to feel like 92, getting only down to about 91 by quarter 4. The humidity is going to be in and around 69 to 71%. So now hopefully you're sitting in the shaded side of Hard Rock Stadium, so you don't have to deal with that. Cloud cover should be up to about 47% at the peak. So yeah, guys, bring your water because you're going to need it for your voices with the cheering and for some of the heat. I hope Daddy Dean, Damien Deese, and all you going this Sunday have a fun time at the game, man. I said to Damien, I'll say to the rest of you, I feel for you that you don't get to see Tua Tagovailoa or Deshaun Watson for that. So, let's keep it rolling. So, the final injury report for this Sunday's game looks like this. Michael Dieter is officially listed as out. Greg Mance is going to start, and it's going to be very interesting to watch that position and to see Greg Mance's communication. It's going to be interesting to see how the protections are called. If we get better play up that middle, maybe you bring Dieter back and you kick him out to guard and you get Jesse Davis out of the situation. But Michael Dieter is out, but you look at the Indianapolis Colts and guys, they are banged up. Quentin Nelson is officially out. Kwity Paye, the rookie stud, is officially out. Their right tackle, Braden Smith, is officially out. Their safety, Kari Willis, is out. Corner Rockison is out as well. So the injuries are plentiful for the Indianapolis Colts. Their offensive line is sitting there for the taking right now. Hey, I mean, this is a banged up Colts team, and you know, our defensive front seven, you guys are going to have to take advantage of where they are right now in terms of injuries, because they are plentiful, and it's not a good situation over there in Indianapolis. And you got Carson Wentz, who the man just a couple of games ago sprained both ankles in one game. I don't even know how you do that. So you know, Jonathan Taylor, he's questionable because he's banged up. Their top tight end, Jack Doyle, he's questionable because he's banged up. Like some of these guys are Wentz, obviously ankles. It says both ankles. He's banged up. Mark Glowinski, he's questionable, and he's going to be good to go. He's a full participant. The other guys were limited at least, but they are banged up, and you're going to have to. This is a game where if they lose this game, red flags and alarms may go off, and panicking may ensue. So, I mean, and rightfully so. Like, let's be honest with ourselves. This isn't. If they lose this is not a good situation. Not a good situation. Um. All right. So, that's what the injury outlook is for this Sunday's game between the Colts and your Miami Dolphins. Continuing on, let's take a look at some of the team rankings, statistical team rankings for both teams heading into this. Right now, so the Miami Dolphins, offensively, they are only getting about 292.3 yards per game, which is 29th. Indianapolis averaging about 342. They're 21st. Passing yards, the Dolphins are currently 29th, averaging about 175.7 yards per game. Indianapolis Colts averaging about 215.3 yards per game, so they're only a couple spots ahead of the Dolphins. Rushing yards, they're averaging about 103 yards per game at 18th. The Dolphins really got boosted by that 130-yard plus performance by the team on Sunday, so they're up to 92.7 from about 75 last week, and they're like 23rd now. Points per game, the Dolphins are averaging 15, which is 30th. Remember, that shutout doesn't do them very good. And then Indianapolis is averaging about 18.7 for 24th in the NFL. Third down percentage, the Dolphins are converting 38.3%, which is 18th best. And the Indianapolis Colts are at 36.1%, which is 23rd best. Now, defense, this is where it gets interesting here a little bit. Follow with me a little bit here. So Miami is allowing about 418 yards per game, which is 26. Remember, they almost allowed 500 yards against the Raiders, and then they allowed a bunch of yards in the air and on the ground. I believe around 400 or over 400 against the Bills. So they're allowing a lot of yards right now. Indianapolis is allowing about 383, 17th best. Passing yards, they're allowing 233 per game, which is 13th best. The Dolphins are allowing 265.3, which is 19th best. And I mean, they're allowing more passing yards than we're averaging. So maybe, but the thing you got to ask yourself is no one knows Jacoby right now better than Frank Reich. So it's going to be interesting to see how they plot for him. Rushing yards, I mean, both teams are allowing almost the same. The Dolphins are 27th in the NFL, allowing 136. But here's the thing: the Indianapolis Colts are allowing about 140.3 on the ground, which is 28th best in the NFL. So there you go. And then when you go to points per game, look at 23rd and 22nd best. The Dolphins allowing about 27.3. Indy allowing about 26.7. And here's where it really gets bad: the Dolphins, they're allowing teams to convert at a 59.1% clip against them on third down, while Indy is allowing about 43.3%. That 59.1% clip of third down percentage allowed by the Miami Dolphins defense is the worst in the NFL, and Indianapolis is 21st in the NFL. So, a lot of us thought this defense was going to take a step forward. Then McKinney got traded, and we were like, and now you're seeing, it's not really looking that pretty, for us defensively, and that's also because this is a product of the offense, especially the last two games. Didn't do anything against the Bills, didn't do anything for 3.5 quarters against the Raiders. It's now catching up, and it's hurting our defense right now. So yeah, not totally pretty, when you sit back and you look at it right now, for the Miami Dolphins. And this is a good team where you can make a statement, and the defense can win this game, right? They're so banged up offensively, and I think the defense can win this game. So, the defense themselves can prop up some of these numbers, I think, this game. So, that's when you compare these two teams right now, ranking wise. Another thing you got to look at too, is when you look at offensively, right, guys? Right now, these are the two worst graded teams by PFF, when it comes to pass blocking right now. And I mean, just to show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. These are the two worst pass blocking teams right now. You see right here under pass blocking, Miami Dolphins have a team pass blocking grade of 38.4, and the Indianapolis Colts have a 41.6. So, and we played the Buffalo Bills, and they're the third worst, and we didn't exactly generate a crap ton of pressure and sacks in that game. So hopefully they can convert it. The poor pass blocking, and Indianapolis's pass blocking is only going to get worse now that Braden Smith, their starting right tackle, and Quentin Nelson are out. And you got to remember, one of their starting tackles right now is who? Julian Davenport. Julian Davenport is starting a tackle for the Indianapolis Colts right now. This coaching staff should know how to beat him. So should this defense, because they used to give him shellackings, during training camp. So let's see what happens. So yeah, when you look at these are the two worst pass blocking teams by PFF's standards. So quite the matchup to watch right there, isn't it? All right. Now, continuing on, let's get into the keys of victory, keys to victory, I should say, for the Miami Dolphins. Let's start off with the offensive keys that I've identified. Let the running backs feast right now. This is a ridiculous thing how Gaskin is being used. It is an absolute crime right now how Myles Gaskin is not being committed to right now. He has 27 attempts for 139 yards right now. I mean, what do you say? He's averaging 5.1 yards a carry. What are you waiting for right now, people? I just do not understand. He proves to you he can run the football, and instead we give him 12, 13 carries. There's no reason why Myles Gaskin should not be consistently flirting with 15 to 18 carries. There's just absolutely, you cannot convince me otherwise. All right. I'm sorry. I was the guy 2 years ago who called his, 2 training camps ago. I called his emergence in camp when no one would believe it. And I saw this coming from a mile away. And, right now he's tied for first in carries of 15 plus yards with 4. He's fifth in forced missed tackles per rush attempt with 0.3 per carry. And his 5.1 yards per carry is right now 6th best in the NFL right now. When you go back to the fact that he averages 0.3 forced missed tackles per rush attempt, only Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb, Javonte Williams, and Dalvin Cook have better forced missed tackles per rush attempt amongst all running backs with 25 rush attempts or more. So Gaskin is producing right now. Feed the man. And with their run defense allowing 140 yards a game, feed the man. Feed the man. Let's go. My number 2 key, test their secondary with your speed. Right now, Jalen Waddle is averaging more yards of separation than average depth of target. Okay. This is a man who's got legit 4.27 speed. You've got all this speed going on right now. We all envision an offense where you'd be taking the top off defenses, testing the boundaries, testing the seams. You know what I mean? Like manufacturing space to get these guys with the ability to create after the catch. None of it has happened. Right now, when you look at the Indianapolis Colts, the fact of the matter is this. No one, and I'm not being disrespectful here, I'm sorry, but no one on the Indianapolis Colts and in their secondary should be striking the fear of God into this offense. I don't care whether you got Jacoby, Tua, Deshaun Watson. I don't care who you got back there. Reed Sinnett, for all I care. No one should be striking the fear of God in you. And that's just facts. Maybe Darius Leonard. Maybe. But, I mean, they're, one of their best defenders looks like is out. Rocky Yassin. I mean, Julian Blackman doesn't strike the fear of God into me. I don't know about all you. TJ Carey is not very good. Xavier Rhodes is a shell of himself. Kenny Moore, who? I'm just saying, use your speed. This is a game where you should be able to slice and dice that secondary. That secondary is not very good. And then number 3, I got take points when they are there. What that simply means is I don't need to see y'all on 4th down. I don't need to see you on 4th down. I don't care what the score is. If the points present themselves, Jason Sanders is one of your best players. And I know he's off to a slow start. He had that missed field goal. But Jason Sanders is one of your best players on offense. I mean, I know it's on special teams, but offensively producing points, Jason Sanders is one of your most consistent players. Take the points. Who knows what's going to happen? Stop getting pretty on fourth down. We aren't converting enough on fourth down to play this cute crap. Take the points when they present themselves. Every point matters, especially with the inept play calling and offensive coaching staff right now. Take your points. I shouldn't even have to be saying this, but yet here I am saying this. This should be basic. Please, for the love of God, take the points when they present themselves. Stop getting pretty. It's disheartening to watch. For real. All right? Then I don't have to hear people talking about if we would have done this, we would have done that. If you take everything that's presented to you, no excuses. If you lose, you just didn't do enough. And we are not good enough on fourth down. We have problems converting fourth and inches. Give me a break. Take your points. All right. Now, let's get into the defensive keys to victory. And the defensive keys for me are this. Get to Wentz through their injured offensive line. We've gone over. Braden Smith is out. Quentin Nelson is out currently right now. Guys, like Julian Davenport has played 3 games and he's allowed 16 pressures. Mark Glowinski, who's good to go, has allowed 13 pressures. Eric Fisher has allowed 9 pressures. Ryan Kelly, the center, has allowed 7 pressures. So, I mean, they are coming in bunches right now, and you currently have the 4th best defensive end in generating pressure, Emmanuel Ogbah, on this team. Jalen Phillips feels like he's about to come on. You should be able to get to Wentz, and Wentz is already banged up as it is right now, dealing with the ankles. Wentz looks like he's in a state where if you breathe on him, you might break his arm. So get to Wentz, make him uncomfortable, do what you got to do. It's time to see the pass rush come alive. Jalen Phillips, this is your week to come on and get some sacks. I feel Phillips gets his first sack this week. My number 2 key right now, Jonathan Taylor. Do not let his first, please, God Almighty, do not let his first 100-yard game come against you this week. Okay? Please. Please. I'm begging you. I'm begging you. And if you guys didn't know, Jonathan Taylor has not put 100 yards on the ground yet. So week 1 he had 17 attempts for 56 yards. In week 2 he had 15 attempts for 51 yards, and last week he had 10 attempts for 64 yards. He's averaging about 4.1 yards a carry. He has not scored a rushing touchdown yet. His longest run is 23 yards right now. Now, in terms of receiving, he's got 8 receptions on the season currently for 70 yards. The first week, he had 6 receptions for 60 yards. So, Don't let Jonathan Taylor's coming out party be against you this week. Come on. Don't do Dolphin things. And then number 3 key here, be better than your 32nd ranked on third down percentage. And what this means is right now they are allowing, you saw the stats. I mean, y'all saw where it's at. Right now, the Miami Dolphins are 32nd in the NFL defensively and allowing third down completion percentage. They're allowing almost 60%. They're allowing 59.1% conversion rate on third down. Do not allow drives to be extended, okay? That even comes down to taking dumb penalties. Let's get some 3 and outs. Let's get off the field. Let's rejuvenate yourselves. Get your health back up. Get on the sideline. And get on with our life. The third down percentage needs to be better. Needs to be better this week. All right. And then for me, simply the matchup to watch. I mean, it's not difficult here. It's easy. It's our defensive front 7 against their offensive line, without Braden Smith and without Quentin Nelson right now. This is the week to create pressure. This is the week to pad stats and get some sacks. This is the week for Jalen Phillips to get his feet under him at the NFL level. They are weak. They are a wounded animal walking right by the lion's den right now. So this is on you right now to go get it done. I want to see an aggressive attack. Drop back, play your cover 1 man, and go get the quarterback up front. You listen, you can, because of, you look at offensively, aside from Jonathan Taylor, what really worries you? Michael Pittman? Well, we can lock down Michael Pittman. This is the perfect week to just pin your ears back, stack the box against Jonathan Taylor, send some extra rushers, let this offensive line have it, send them some disguises that they don't see. This is your coming out party week. If this defensive front 7 cannot get the push, the penetration, and the pass rush we need against this offensive line, we got serious problems. Not only, even if you win and you can't sustain a consistent pass rush against this offensive line, you got questions. You got legitimate questions about where they are. And maybe this front 7 isn't as far as long as we all thought it was going to be. Well, we know the linebackers aren't. But this is the week to go and get in that ass. Let's go. I'm not trying to see excuses for this week by any stretch of the imagination. So, my prediction for this game is pretty simple. I think the Dolphins are actually going to win this game. So my prediction is the Dolphins 20 and the Colts 10. I think we should win this game. I think this is a very winnable game. I think if you don't win this game, red flags should go off and panic will ensue. And I think we should be back to 500 after this game. This is the only way you lose this game is if you turn the ball over or you have defensive lapses and you shoot yourself in the foot. Because right now the Colts are banged up and they are not a very good football team right now as it stands. They are 0-3. Now they're going to be desperate. Desperate teams do desperate things. But to me, this isn't a must win, but it's close to being a must win. And why I say that is because I don't have us beating the Bucs. If we go in to that game with Tampa at 1-3, that's not an ideal scenario. Because it could be 1-4 real quick and the season could start slipping away. So I got the Dolphins 20, the Colts 10. The Dolphins go back to 2-2 to face the dreaded Tampa Bay Buccaneers in week 5. So let's hope the Dolphins. Yeah, man, I'm down for 45 nothing shellacking. The Dolphins giving it to the Colts, but I'll stay conservative. I'll go 20-10. I think Jonathan Taylor does get in the end zone against us. I think Gaskin gets in the end zone for us. Let's see. I think Jalen Phillips would get his first sack this weekend. I got a feeling. Shout out to Jalen Phillips. So yeah, 20-10 is my prediction. Now, me and EM Dolphin fan were ahead of the curve. At the beginning of June, we did a show looking over, asking the question, have the Dolphins properly used their resources? And an article came out from Barry Jackson that I find very, very interesting. I wanted to hop into that. It really puts things into perspective when it's down in front of you guys, and it's not just me and EM up here talking to you. So a look at how the Dolphins use their most precious draft resources and the alternate path. Jimmy Johnson, when asked a couple years ago about the Dolphins collecting a treasure trove of future picks, made the point the key is not getting draft picks. The key is picking the right players. There's been plenty of teams with a bunch of draft picks. Johnson's comments resonated in recent days, and there's this disturbing question. Were the most of the best assets collected during this Dolphins rebuild squandered on average players or player not as good as the other options with those picks? There's growing evidence of that, and if that continues, it will undermine the grand rebuild, if not torpedo it. Coach Flores has said the nucleus of the team will be the past 3 drafts. Let's examine the Dolphins' use of premium assets on the first 2 days of the draft. The Dolphins had 9 picks in the first, second, or third rounds of 2019 and 2020. With the benefit of hindsight, perhaps 2 of those picks, if that, would still be the Dolphins' logical selections in a draft do-over. So now let's be clear. If you did this exercise throughout the NFL, every team would have multiple picks they would do over if given the chance. And general manager Chris Greer and Flores have done good work eyeballing talent with late round picks and undrafted rookies. Flores maximized the team's talent in those first 2 years. The problem is that the Dolphins have too many missteps with their most precious draft assets. A fresh look at that issue. 2019 draft, Christian Wilkins at number 13. Though Wilkins hasn't been a bust, the pick is somewhat regrettable because the next defensive lineman drafted, Carolina and former FSU defensive end Brian Burns, has been far better. In 33 career games, Wilkins had 10 tackles for a loss, 4.5 sacks, and been a part of a run defense that consistently has ranked in the bottom half in opponent yards per carry. Burns, selected 16th, has 19.5 sacks and 16 more tackles for a loss in 34 games. Tennessee defensive tackle Jeffrey Simmons, selected 19th overall, has more sacks than Wilkins, 6.5, and has been the better run stopper in ESPN's recent ranking of the league's top 10 interior defensive linemen. Simmons led all players in the top 10 in run stop win rate at 39.8%. No one is Aaron Donald, but Simmons might be the closest, an unidentified NFL general manager told ESPN's Jeremy Fowler. Wilkins is at the very least adequate and better than at times. PFF ranks him 39th of 100 defensive linemen to play in a game this season. What's troublesome is that the next 2 defensive linemen selected are clearly better. The second round debacle. This was a disaster. Even by Dolphin standards, Miami traded the 48th pick in the second round and the number 116th pick in the fourth to the Saints for 2 second-round picks and a 6th-round selection, number 202. That trade on its own was fine. But one of the second-round picks acquired, 62 overall, was regrettably sent to Arizona for Rosen, whose Dolphins career lasted 6 games and 3 starts. Had they kept the 62nd pick, they could have drafted Pro Bowl receiver DK Metcalf, who went 64th to Seattle and has 2,433 receiving yards and 19 touchdowns in 35 games. Had the Dolphins stayed at 48, they could have solved center by drafting the player New Orleans took, Eric McCoy, who was an all-rookie selection, or Pro Bowl receiver A.J. Brown, who went 51st to Tennessee and has 2,218 yards and 20 touchdowns in 33 games. Dieter at 78. Dieter looks like a serviceable starting center, so this pick can still be justified. PFF ranks him 15th of 33 centers in performance this season. He's now going on injured reserve and is out indefinitely with foot and quad injuries. But guard Nate Davis, selected 82nd by Tennessee out of Charlotte, would have been the better choice. Per PFF, Davis allowed just 1 sack, playing every snap last season, graded out well against the run, and received 2 first-team All-Pro votes. 2020 draft, quarterback Tagovailoa at number 5. Justin Herbert, selected 6th overall by the Chargers, already is what Tagovailoa hopes to become, a top 12 NFL starter. Herbert has 37 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, and a 98.2 passer rating in 18 starts. Tagovailoa has 12 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and an 85.8 passer rating in 12 games, and has missed games due to 2 separate injuries. Perhaps someday Tagovailoa can achieve Herbert's level of production, but Herbert is already there. The Dolphins considered Herbert, but placed high value on Tagovailoa's college accuracy. He completed 69.3% of his passes at Alabama, compared with 64% for Herbert at Oregon, plus the tape was better. Anyone who watches tape knows Tagovailoa's tape was better. There was also reportedly Dolphins' concerns about Herbert's quiet personality, which has proven to be irrelevant. Left tackle Jackson at 18. Receiver Justin Jefferson, picked 22nd, has produced big numbers in Minnesota. 108 catches, 1,654 yards, 9 touchdowns. But the Dolphins, after ignoring tackling free agency, felt compelled to select one in the draft and settled for what was left after the top 4 tackles were snagged earlier that night. Jackson's 14 pressures allowed are 3rd most among tackles this season. Even though he missed the game, he committed 2 costly penalties last week. Among others, besides Jefferson, who were picked shortly after Jackson, linebacker Kenneth Murray by the Chargers, 127 tackles, 6 for loss, and 19 starts. And Baltimore linebacker Patrick Queen, 129 tackles, 4 sacks, and 19 starts. Instead of selecting Jackson's, the Dolphins instead should have drafted Jefferson and then acquired Washington's Trent Williams, an elite left tackle, in April 2020. San Francisco acquired Williams on the 3rd day of the 2020 draft for a 5th-round pick in 2020 and a 3rd-round pick in 2021. He made his 8th Pro Bowl and was PFF's number 1 ranked tackle last season. Imagine a combination of Williams and Jefferson in Miami. Instead, the Dolphins used those resources on Jackson and Jason Strowbridge, who was released, and tight end Hunter Long. Noah Monogany at 30. This remains the most mystifying pick of the rebuild because the Dolphins already had 2 of the league's highest priced cornerbacks on the roster. With the golden benefit of hindsight, Miami should have stayed at 26 or moved to 30 and drafted Jonathan Taylor, who has 1,340 rushing yards on 4.9 per carry in 18 games after the Colts selected him at 41. Among corners taken in the 2nd round, Trevon Diggs, 6 picks in 2 years, has outperformed corners taken ahead of him, Monogany and Gladney, to a lesser extent, Chicago's Jalen Johnson. The running back Clyde Edwards-Helaire isn't off to a great start this season. He and Detroit's DeAndre Swift would have been better picks than Monogany. Both have 4.4 career rushing averages. T. Higgins, 77 receptions for 1,026 yards, 8 touchdowns in 18 games for the Bengals. Also would have been a better choice. He was taken 33rd. Michael Pittman, selected 34th, might have also been a better option. 57 receptions for 723 yards. Monogany incidentally said Friday that cornerbacks coach Charles Burks has completely changed my game. Previously, I was thinking a lot, especially at the line of scrimmage. He's helped me a lot. I can't wait to see what he does with me. Monogany, who hasn't played any defensive snaps this season after playing 28% of the snaps last season, said he practiced exclusively on the boundary the past few months after working a bit in the slot during June minicamp. FYI, trading down with Green Bay from 26th to 30th, netted Miami this 136th pick, which was dealt 2 days later with pick 141 for pick 111 or 111, which became Solomon Kinley. Robert Hunter, 39. this has a chance to still be a good pick. He played well at right tackle the final 6 weeks of last season, but has been merely adequate at best so far at guard. But a bunch of players selected shortly after have been better. Taylor, Chase Claypool, J.K. Dobbins, Antoine Winfield. So even though Hunt wasn't a bust by any means, there were better players available. Raekwon Davis, like Hunt, it's too soon to know, and this is the one pick where you can make the strongest case to stick with the selection and draft do-over. Dolphins' run defense improved when Davis was inserted in the lineup last season. If he reaches his high ceiling, a big if, he'd be a big piece of the rebuild when he returns at some point this season from a knee injury. None of the players selected shortly after Davis have been exceptional. Among the players selected directly after were the Rams with Van Jefferson, A.J. Dillon to Green Bay, Josh Uche to the Patriots, Ezra Cleveland, who's starting for Minnesota. And then safety Brandon Jones. The Dolphins know they have a smart player who can tackle, but his pass coverage metrics have been poor in his career. 28 completions and 33 targets against him for 278 yards. And that likely will prevent him from becoming a long-term NFL starter. None of the players selected immediately after have been significantly better than Jones, if at all. Josh Jones with Arizona has only 3 NFL starts. Jonah Jackson started all 19 games at guard. Defensive tackle Devon Hamilton, 40 tackles and a sack and 8 starts. Zach Moss, 567 yards on 4.3 per carry in 15 games. Zach Bond, 25 tackles in 18 games and 4 starts. Running back Keshawn Vaughn, 26 career carries for 109 yards. And Justin Matabuki, 21 tackles in 12 games and 4 starts for the Ravens. So like Dieter and the Davis selections, the Jones pick can be justified. And then he just goes on to say it's far too soon to know what will become of Waddle, Phillips, Holland, and Eichenberg. So any comparison with later picks is premature after 3 games. So even the media now is starting to ask what me, an EM Dolphin fan, were asking back in June, whether this team has properly utilized their draft resources or not. So, I mean, it's time you start looking back and asking yourself, does this regime know what they're doing? And Barry Jackson's also the same one that told all of you guys Flores has a lot of same personnel decisions and Greer's even deferred to him. So it's good to be ahead of things like this, right? So like no one can sit there and call me and EM negative because we were at, we made shows about this, about using their specific shows to their resource usage back before the media started to kind of catch on. It's just, this is why you sit back and you look at things objectively, not subjectively, with this team and the people that they have in power right now. I think these are legitimate questions that we all as fans need to be asking. Do we have the right guys in power right now? Because there is good reason to believe that we potentially do not. So, and again, back to the Watson stuff. I'm totally fine. They want to make the move. That's cool. I don't even trust them with Watson. I need someone who's going to come in here and make sure that asset is protected, because as injury prone as people try to make out Tua, you need to realize Watson has battled injuries a whole hell of a lot. And I know they think they're potentially saving their ass, or they are potentially extending their shelf life. The problem is, if the expectations have clearly already arrived right now to begin this year, and that's prior to Watson, where are the expectations going to be at when you acquire Watson? See, that's what they're not thinking about right now. If they were expecting a playoff run with Tua Tagovailoa leading this shit show of an offense. What are they going to expect with Deshaun Watson leading this offense? I'm just saying. So, you know, they think it might extend the shelf life, but it actually might backfire if you don't get the results you want. And God forbid if you acquire Deshaun Watson and he gets hurt. Then what? Now, because you didn't properly protect him, you didn't have everything properly in place for him. Now what? This is just now we're getting into the territory where if you acquire Deshaun Watson, you have a lot of assets allocated to that single position. You cannot mess around. You literally need to get to this season. You need to go sign Terran Armstead from New Orleans. You need to go find a center. I've seen this song and dance so much before. Like, I said every big splash trade or signing we make never works out. Ndamukong Suh, Mike Wallace, Brandon Marshall. Every big move we make like that never works out for us. Never once. Now, I know it's not getting an elite quarterback like Deshaun Watson, but it never works for us. And Cash is right. What has Will Fuller done? Now, that B cut's right. Reggie Bush. I had high hopes for Reggie Bush. He was good, but he wasn't elite. He wasn't great. Like the life of a Dolphins fan. We always get our hopes up because we're bringing someone in and then they never live up to the expectation. Brandon Albert. Remember when we gave him the money? He was great, and then the injuries just deteriorated him. Where if he could have stayed healthy, that offensive line could have been disgusting. So, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how Joey Porter. I like Joey Porter, Cash. I'll say that worked out. Remember, he won Comeback Player of the Year. Ricky Williams did work out. Ricky worked out, but we still got screwed in the end. The guy goes off, wins rushing titles, et cetera, and he's the lead best running back in the game, and fate still finds a way to screw us through the miracle of cannabis. Like that's what's crazy too. Even when we do nail it big time, like we did with Ricky Williams, it still blows up in our face. So, it's one thing to accumulate all those picks. You got to do something with them. And Guerrero and Flores just have not executed with the selections, and they have not executed with the growth and development of the selections. The carousel at offensive coordinator has started to catch up with us. The carousel at offensive line is starting to catch up with us. And, poor Tua, poor Deshaun Watson, whoever you want to say, they got to deal with this mess. They have to deal with this mess. Ronnie Brown was drafted. We didn't trade or sign him. JFam asks what teams would be successful with Tua. I think Washington getting him was beautiful. I think he would fit beautifully on a team like San Francisco. Washington would make a ton of sense. I mean, it's just, and look at now. Now we're not even now we're even getting the right guys with draft picks, and we're not using them properly. Tua, you don't build the offensive line in front of him, and look what happens. Waddle, his average depth of target is like 3.8 yards. What are you doing? And you're not even manufacturing. Yeah, the Saints are perfect for Tua too. The Saints would be ridiculous for Tua. He would kill it there. Because they know how to manufacture space, and they also protect their quarterbacks. Like, they get Waddle, they get an elite talent like that. They don't even know how to use them right now. Jalen Phillips, for as great of a defensive mind as we have in the building with Brian Flores, they didn't know how to use them off the rip. It took them preseason and a few NFL games for them to say, oh, this is how we use them. So right now, not only are we misusing draft capital and financial capital, we're misusing the players when we bring them in. So it's like you're whiffing on picks, and then you're whiffing on picks, and then you're whiffing on the developmental growth process too. Like, something's got to give here. You got to get it right in some aspect for this team to be successful. Our biggest fear when you go back to 2019 was them Cleveland Browning all these picks, and like old Cleveland Browns when they weren't ran well. And guess what? So far, it looks like they may have just done that. Because people forget the Cleveland Browns were a team where it didn't matter how talented of a quarterback you were. The situation was so bad and everything they had in place was so bad, you were destined to fail. And look at our offense right now. Guys, we could draft Sam Howell. We could draft Spencer Rattler. We could have drafted Justin Herbert. And Justin Herbert would not look like what he has right now. We don't have a Pep Hamilton that would have groomed one of these guys early on in their stages. We don't have, we didn't properly spend the resources on the offensive line like the Chargers did. And look at what the Bengals did for Burrow. Look at the protection Burrow had last night and the time he had to throw. Everyone mocked the Riley Reef signing for me when I was saying they're not going to draft Penei Sewell because they got Riley Reef and Jonah Jackson, and they've been better than anything we have. Like, that's what I'm saying here. Like, we didn't have anyone reliable like Mike Williams or Keenan Allen or last year with Hunter Henry, because Gesicki had to come off for snaps because he couldn't block. Hunter Henry could stay on. Guys, Herbert walked into the same offense that Phillip Rivers threw 4,500 yards with the year before. Yes, the offensive line wasn't that great, but the weapons and the coaching staff was far better than what we put around Tua Tagovailoa, and far better than what we'll put around Deshaun Watson. Like, call a spade a spade. Deshaun is going to have less to work with than Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow do right now. Because I think Zach Taylor's a terrible head coach, but you know what? That West Coast offense is tailored to Joe Burrow. It's very similar to what they ran at LSU. So they've tailored it to him. Anyways, I'm about to get out of here, guys. I gotta go record a episode of Fin Too Deep with Neil Driscoll because he just had a baby girl, so we weren't able to record Wednesday. I will be back Sunday, half hour, 45 minutes before the game, and we will go there from there. Oh, I agree. Right now, Herbert is on a different level, Latrell. The problem is this: if you're crazy, if you think this coaching staff, Gailey last year and what we have this year and the weapons around would have got Herbert would not have run Rookie of the Year in this offense. Let's be honest with ourselves. Let's be honest with ourselves, okay? And EM Rivers was turning into a scrub his last 2 years. Okay. Go look at what his production in Indianapolis and the drop off compared to his production in his last year at San Diego. And he did that with a noodle arm in San Diego his last year. His arm had been dying for 3 years. And that's why San Diego let him walk. And then you go the next year, the Colts takes a nosedive because he doesn't have the Keenan Allens, the Mike Williams, and the Hunter Henrys, and the Austin Ecklers. So, yeah, Phillips Rivers has not been good the last 3 years, 3 years. So, anyways, all right, guys, I will see you Sunday, and we will live react to the Colts game. Guys, I hope you all have a fantastic Friday night, a great Saturday, and I'm hoping I see all y'all for a win on Sunday. Damien, Daddy Dean, enjoy the game when you are there live on Sunday. Safe flight to you, Damien. Guys, I will see y'all on Sunday. Until then, stay happy, healthy, safe, and blessed. And it's fins up all day, every day.